Okay, what's up guys and gals? Welcome to another episode of Roy's Customs and the ZX2 project. I tell you, I've actually got a lot done today, and I'm going to show you some of that here in a few moments, and I'm going to update you a little bit on what's going on, and I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope you subscribe and hit like. Comment on anything that you see that I may be doing wrong, or stuff that you didn't know how to do. Anyways, so here we go. Check it out. Okay, what's up guys and gals? I have got my new CV shaft for my ZX2. I also got my new engine damper. The engine damper just goes in the same way as the old one did. The CV shaft goes in the same way the old one did, but it'll have a little bit heavier nut on it than what came factory, which is fine. Everything should be tight. It shouldn't jiggle and wobble like the other one did real bad. And you should make sure that it does have the little C-clip with it. Now, I have actually gotten some in the past, just a couple of them over the years, that didn't have the little clip ring in it, which it's no big deal, because as long as the old one is still good, you can use it, or you can just go to the store and get another one. You can go to the auto parts store and get another one for dirt nothing. Just got to make sure it's the right one. And what you're going to want to do before you even put these in is you're going to want to grease the end of it. And you don't want to have to force it in there. It should just kind of slide in and clip. So we'll get to that a little bit later. I got to finish up down here. I got to put that rear engine mount on and get the brace up underneath it and get the transmission back to where it should be, and then I can slide these back in. I should be able to slide these back in. I'm hoping to get the CV shafts in all the way today. Definitely want to get it buttoned back up so that I can do that. And I'll try to get to that side, but I definitely want to get the CV shafts back in, and then we'll go from there and see what we got going next. But we'll get to this in a few minutes. I want to get to that first so that part's done. There's also a few other things that I need to button back up, like the control arm and stuff for the shifter. I want to get that buttoned back up, so I'll have more on that here in a few minutes. There are a couple of things that I want to mention about putting these cross members on and stuff like that. Anytime that you've got something like this, you kind of want to put it together loosely first. That way you've got wiggle room. Because sometimes if you try to just force it together, you know, bad stuff can happen, or it just won't go. But you want to put this kind of stuff together loosely, so that then as you tighten everything up, it can be, it'll all kind of suck itself together, and you can kind of use a little bit of pry here and there to sort of get it back together. This one went together pretty easy doing it that way. So wasn't a bad ordeal. So we got that much done. I still need to finish tightening up, well, put this other bolt up here in, and I need to finish tightening that down, and I need to tighten down this front motor mount. And then what I believe I will actually do is I'll probably button up some of the other transmission stuff, like the stabilizer bar and the control bar. I'll worry about that back there later whenever I go to do the exhaust. I'm not gonna finish this tonight. It's not gonna happen, but I am gonna get as much as I can get done. Like I say, I just got to finish buttoning that up, and I'll get the I'll get the stabilizer bar put back on, and I'll get the control arm put back on. I'm probably gonna go ahead and put the CV shafts in and get those done. The one will have to come in from the other side, which shouldn't be a big deal once this thing's actually setting back in place. It should kind of sneak right through there. Remember, the driver or the passenger side actually has the extension on it, as it were, or the secondary shaft to make it equal length drive shafts. So anyways, we'll get to more of this in a few moments. Now that we actually have the crossmember back in place, we don't need the jack to hold up the engine anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to take that out because that's not needed right at this moment. I may have to jack it up a little bit to put the other transmission mount on, but for right now I'm not going to need the jack, and I actually need the extra room so I can crawl all the way under there. So now that we got the CV shaft back in and we actually have it back into the hub, what we got to do now is line the spindle back up with the strut so that we can get that back together. And what I normally do is I'll start with the bottom one and get the bottom one lined up by pulling it out and pushing the spindle down. There we go. Under normal circumstances, that wouldn't be that hard. It really wouldn't. I don't know why it just wasn't cooperating. Maybe I wasn't holding my tongue right. I don't know. But for the most part, that's usually pretty easy to do it that way. And once the bottom one's lined up, it's real simple to line the top one up. Just kind of pop it back in there. Put your nuts on your bolts. Want to say that these are, yes, 17s. So, and I actually have a wrench, I believe. No, that's not the right one. Hold on, I got it over here. Because you want to hold the other side. That's gonna do. I don't see that coming apart anytime soon. 90 pounds. Alright. Then you want to put your hub nut on. Now, you won't actually finish this up until you get your tire back on and you get it set back on the ground, and then you finish this part off. So, anyways, this side is back together. Well, except for the brakes. Got to put the brakes back on there. So I'll get to that. I actually changed these rotors whenever I got the car. I'd actually changed both of them. So they're just a little rusty because they're steel. Go ahead and put that back on. I need something to cut this with, so oh yes, and I need my 2 bolts for my brakes. One's a little longer than the other, so you have to remember which one came from where. I zip tie these up so that there's no like pressure on these lines, because they're just rubber and you don't want to stretch them out. So anyways, and these should just go right back on. Should go right back on. And then as far as this goes, there's the little hold, and then there is a clip that I am going to show you a close-up of. So right here, there's this little bracket. This little bracket right here, which you can see, and there's this clip that goes in it. You want to make sure you're pushing against, and you have to have it this way up against. You can they're actually kind of tight to put in there, so you usually need to like pop them in with something, but you don't got to beat the crap out of them. Just tap them in with something, and then that's what holds your brake line. Make sure you undo that before you go trying to move your brake too far, because you've got very little hose to work with, and this gives you more room to play with. So anyways, that's back together as far as it needs to be. Just remember to tighten your hub nuts, your main hub nut, when you set it back on the ground. Remember to do that. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. Anyways, and once you're done playing around with all the grease and stuff, get you some well, you don't got to get degreaser. Get some brake cleaner and use some brake cleaner on it. Honestly, if you want to deal with the squeal and squeak and the smelliness for a while, don't clean it. But if you want it to be clean and you want them to last a little longer, then get you some brake cleaner and clean your disc off really well, and try to get all the muck and yuck off of it. But we'll do that later. I'll make sure that I do that before I put the tire on. But for right now, I'm going to set the other CV shaft in there. So I actually have to, what I really need to do is I actually need to put the the strut back in, because I had to take the strut out so that I could actually weld up a piece of sheet metal in there, so that, because it was pretty bad and I needed to weld something up in there. So anyways, I got that taken care of pretty quick and semi-painlessly, so that's taken care of for the moment. I'll probably put something else in there a little later, but for now that'll work. But I had to get the strut out of the way, and that's the only main reason that I took it all the way out. So anyways, we're gonna take a little time out here, and then we'll get to this other CV shaft, and I'll get all my tools and stuff over here, and I'll take a little time out, and then we'll get back to it. I need to put the strut back in, So basically it's just 4 bolts at the top. It's not a huge ordeal. It actually looks like it needs replaced, but it seemed to ride okay, so we're just gonna go with it. I think it'll be okay. If not, I guess that'll be another job for another time, changing the struts. But anyways, as far as right now goes, all you really got to do is line it up with the 4 holes that are in the strut mount. It's not a huge ordeal, so just kind of hold it up here, line it up, get you a couple of the bolts started and a couple of the nuts started. Place get one all the way down and tight, and then start a couple of the others, and you can just work your way around. Yeah, and keep banging your fenders, so you gotta do more body work. That's always a good idea. Anytime you can, don't turn your handle towards the project. Try to work away from it, although I was kind of silly and I didn't do what I just told you to do. So, anyways, and sometimes they start a little rough. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes it's because of the rust. And you'll do just fine for a second by hand, and then you won't no more, and you'll have to use the wrench. And anyways, it's kind of silly. Sometimes it likes messing with you. I really don't know what the extra bolt nut used to hold on, but it used to hold something on, and I can't remember what it was, because there's actually one on the other side, so I can't remember. So if any of you ZX2 guys can remember what that extra nut held on, you can put that down in the comments. That'd be great, because it's been so long since I had that. It was like a clip of something, and it was held on there. Anyways, it don't matter. So, because it apparently wasn't important, or I wouldn't have took it off. So, anyways, that's together. No big deal. Bing bang boom, 4 nuts, and it's in there. Not a big ordeal. Now, for this part, like I had told you earlier in the video, you want to make sure your clip is on there, because these clip in, and you'll hear it click when it hits. You might not, but I will. So anyways, and you want to make for certain you put a little bit of grease on the end. You don't have to douse it. This is just regular all-purpose grease. It's nothing special or fancy. So anyways, just a little bit, lube it up a little, and then should be able to slide the shaft in as long as it'll line up, and it will go in like so. Okie dokie. Now, we got that back in. And I'm sure this will be difficult for me as well, so I may not make you suffer through this one. But I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to leave you right here for now, guys. I got the new ball joint, I got the hub back on, I got the CV shaft back in, I got the strut back on, but I got to the tie rod and we have a little problem. I boogered up the nut whenever I knocked it out, so I checked out the actual bolt part, and it seems to be fine. The threads look okay, but I think I beat up the the nut, and I'm gonna have to get another nut and cotter pin. I need another cotter pin anyways. You can actually get these. I'm not sure exactly how much, excuse me, I'm not sure how much they are, but I know you can get them. I know I've seen them. I think these ones are like an 18 or a 19 millimeter bolt, but I know you can get them, and if anything, I will go hit Rural King, Tractor Supply, and different hardware stores and see what I can come up with. But I'm pretty sure I've seen them at the auto parts stores, so I know they got them with the cotter pins. Usually there's like a set of them with cotter pins, because sometimes that happens. You just mess up the nut and the actual shaft or the bolt is just fine. But anyways, that's my little update so far. I believe I may have a bad clutch line is what may actually have been the problem. It shouldn't cost very much. It's a soft line that connects the two hard lines so that there's flex between the slave cylinder and master cylinder side, because they're actually attached to the motor mount and then to the transmission. So there's this space that they gotta have a soft line at. And I think that might possibly have been the problem. But I won't know for certain until I get it all back together. But like I say, all I got to do is finish up the passenger side and get my new nut and cotter pin and finish up this side, finish the motor mounts, and finish the exhaust, and put my radiator back in, give it a good clean. I may actually go ahead and flush it before I put it back in. That way it's got a good cleaning. Because it has been sitting for like a month now, so it probably needs cleaned out anyways. So anyways, other than that, there's not a whole lot to tell you about, but I didn't even get to put the header in. I was gonna have the header put in, but anyways, I got it all buttoned up. I don't need a jack underneath the engine no more. I got it sitting like it should. I'll probably have to move it around a little bit to put that the rear transmission mount back together, which it won't have to move much, so I may be able to do it with like a loose fit sort of combo, and then just tighten everything up and it'll draw it all together. Hopefully it'll work that way, and it should. There's not like much space there anyways. But other than that, really don't have anything else for you until I get me another nut. Like I say, I think the tie rod is just fine. I was looking at the threads seem to be fine. These are pretty boogered up, so I'd say I get a new one of these nuts and we will be good. Thank you for watching, and feel free to subscribe, and have a spectacular day or night, whichever one it is for you. Peace out. Thought I'd give you a little preview of what the header looks like in there. It looks, it's not completely buttoned up or nothing. It actually hugs that oil pan quite a bit. It actually hugs it really too well in my book, but I think it'll be fine. We'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be okay. Like I say, it hugs it quite a bit, so we'll see how everything goes. I'll even kind of show you here. See how it hugs that oil pan. I don't know if that's going to be too hot or what's going to happen. We're going to find out. We'll see. I hope it's going to be alright. We'll run it for a little while. Like I say, I think this was actually for a Ford Focus because of this extra tube, because I think that that's an EGR tube for that, for the Focus. But other than that, it fits like it's like it's supposed to. Everything seems to be fine. Everything lines up all right. We'll see. We'll see what it sounds like and what it runs like whenever we get it started and stuff. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be just fine. We'll see. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.